Looks like I'm live. How's it going? Every time I go live, I see my reflection in the computer and I see how crazy my hair looks to me. And so that's why you see me messing with my hair every time I jump on a live. How's everybody doing? Good. I want to teach you guys, hey, Lisa, a little something about how you can make sure that every speaking gig that you ever get has ROI. And it may not be dollars ROI, but it's important to understand, especially if you're still, I don't even want to say still, because the fact of the matter is that free speaking opportunities should, I was going to say can, but in fact should always be very lucrative. If they're not, then this is the right live stream for you. And if they're not, then you're doing something wrong. Because every speaking opportunity has potentially massive ROI, every single one. 5 people at your local chamber of commerce shouldn't be an issue, right? I mean, every single one can deliver for you. First of all, every time you get on stage, you're building your brand. So there's the sort of slow burn ROI of people seeing you in your sort of zone of genius, in your field of excellence, being awesome, and remembering you. So let's talk about remembering you. At every speaking gig you do, no matter how small, no matter how big, you need some way to lead capture and or create connections with people. How can we do this? Well, there are a lot of ways. There's, of course, ask for email. That's a good one. There's have something ready with your social media links in it. So that's good. If you have a group, have and follow this bit closely. If you have a group, ahead of time, you should go to a URL shortener website like tinyurl or bit.ly and get a nice, short, tight, concise altered link, right? So your link to join your group shouldn't be 200 characters long. Like mine is tinyurl.com/mannygroup. Super easy. Super easy. That's how you want to think about it. And so at the very least, every opportunity to speak will bring people into your world, your funnel, basically. Every time you bring someone into your world, if you have coaching or services or products or anything that you do to make money, you have effectively brought people into your funnel because they're getting to know you. And you need to think of it that way. So, and that would be, I would consider that a worst case scenario, is just to get a few people into the top of your funnel. But let's go back to the example of, sorry guys, let's go back to the example of a really small event like at a chamber of commerce or something, right? If it's a chamber of commerce, these people are in business. So not being able to predict for you here on this live stream what businesses they might be in or what you do, you want to be ready with obvious ways that what you do connects to what they do. I hope this is making a little sense so far. If it is, please give me a thumbs up or something, or make a comment. Give me some participation to let me know you're following so far. And we're just getting started on how you can get ROI from any speaking gig. But I want to see if it's making sense to you. So first, you have some way to create the connection, the ongoing connection, right? It could be your Facebook group, your social media profiles. It could be asking for emails. Remember, you're the speaker, you're the expert, you're the professional in that moment that you're up there, in that hour, in that 30 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever it is. Okay, great. So I'm seeing some reactions. I'm seeing some positivity. I'm seeing that some people are saying yes. That's great. Now, you should, by the time you start speaking, have whatever your offer is. It can be as simple as your book. It can be your coaching, your service, whatever it is. It should be, pretty ready to offer. And most free speaking gigs in the beginning won't be gigs where you can make an offer, but that's okay, right? Because here's the secret. And there are a couple of people on this call who will back me up on this. If you're good, by the way, most people who take the stage and speak, they inappropriately conflate, which means connect, being on stage with being good. I want to say that again. they inappropriately assume that because they're up there, they're good. This is a huge mistake. Without going too far off on a tangent, I want to talk about a workshop that I was hosting last weekend. And we had these, it was a classic workshop, right? We had these dynamic, awesome, powerful entrepreneurs, and each one of them had this really cool thing that they were up to. And I had them all get up and start to give their presentation, their spiel, their talk, their signature talk. And what I want you guys to understand from this, and this will relate, by the way, to how you don't need to make offers from stage in order to sell your coaching, your services, your products, whatever it is. But two of them, I'm about to sort of, I'm going to have to be discreet here. Two of them were my students already. And those two got up, and their stories were powerful, clear, concise, emotional, connected, and grabbed us, right? Now, I can't stress this enough. It does not matter what you speak about. Either you know how to be storyteller-like or you don't. I can't stress this part enough, guys. Either you know how to be storyteller-like or you don't. If you are storyteller-like, you will compel people to action. Once again, I want to check and make sure you guys are following this. So can you send me some thumbs ups or smiley faces or whatever you want? It doesn't matter. Just give me some interaction so that I know that this makes sense to you, because this is huge. This is the cornerstone of being able to attract clients without selling. From the stage, I mean. So does it make sense to you that if you are storyteller-like, you'll be compelling to people? And people will be attracted and want to know more because of the power of stories. So let me know. Are you guys following this? Okay, good. Seeing some reaction there. So two of them were, and two of them had no idea what they were in for, right? They came through my workshop partners. She got them to join. And so they were more focused on the content she would deliver. And so those two had no skill whatsoever, and I say this lovingly, this is not a judgment, but they had no skill whatsoever in telling their story yet, simply because they hadn't practiced. But here's the thing. Here's what I want you guys to understand. There are two things here. One is that because they had no experience with crafting their story and sharing it, they had all kinds of physical tells. What do I mean by physical tells? Well, I mean, you can hear that their voices were a little nervous because they were unsure. And again, this is not a judgment. This is just something for you to be aware of as a speaker who's trying to get ROI from every speaking gig. So you could hear the lack of self-assuredness in their voices. They were put on the spot, yes, but it doesn't matter, right? Because as an audience member, it's not your job to size up whether somebody is, adequately prepared or not. You just need to be taken on a journey. And they couldn't take us on a journey, even though both of them, it turned out, had amazing, unbelievable stories. But they couldn't tell them well. Even one of my students, when she got up to speak, her voice was hitting. She was a little excited and I assume a little nervous. And so her voice was kind of, quavering just a little bit, like it didn't come out as confident. So here's what I want you to know about when you speak from the stage. What determines how confident we feel in you as a speaker are small cues. They're very small cues. Is your voice steady? Is it even keel? Are you deliberately controlling, like I am now, the inflection and the tonality of your voice? Because if you are, you can carry people confidently. Just move them along, right, through a story. And if not, it unnerves people. Now, here's something that I really want you to pay attention to. We don't consciously recognize that we're being unnerved. What happens is, if you think of our connection with the speaker as having, dozens or hundreds of little connectors, some of those connectors break free and it strains the connection. So your voice has to be utterly confident. Now, it can be feminine, masculine. That's not really as much of an issue as confidence. Okay. So with a confident voice and a clear sense of how you're telling your story, you will compel people to want to know more about you. When you do that, what happens is people naturally come up to find out more, to learn more. This is where you typically get questions like, how can I work with you? So, do you see how this connects to how to get ROI from any speaking gig? Again, I'm going to ask you for some emojis, some thumbs ups, some whatever you have, right? Just let me know that you're making sense of this, that you're tracking this, because this is very important. I like to say when I'm training that your voice is the orchestra, the symphony, and you are the conductor. So your voice is the symphony, the orchestra, and you are the conductor. You need to approach the musicality of your voice and the confidence and the power of your voice like that. And if you do, it will put people at ease. It will make people relax, because when they hear that confidence, they know you're in charge. So let's talk a little bit about a couple of other things that can either work very much in our favor or can really undermine us. And by a couple of other things, I mean your legs. Patrick, I saw that you're on this. I'm thinking of you, buddy. So we have this tendency. The reason that I teach body language from the hips up and then from the hips down as two separate things is because we have this tendency for our feet to sort of give away any nervousness that we have, independent of what we think we're telling our bodies to do. So you must know what your feet are doing at all times. And when you do, you will read to the audience as confident. And when you read to the audience as confident, they can relax in your confidence and just absorb your message. Okay? So here's what we're talking about: how to make sure that you get ROI from every speaking gig. And we're talking about the example of like the small Chamber of Commerce or Elks Lodge or Rotary Lodge or BNI or just these small free gigs. And what I'm saying to you here is that your service, your area of expertise, your ability to communicate that is important, but in fact, it's less important than your ability to control your voice and your body so that they are on message. When you can control the voice and the body, you eliminate all the subconscious signals that we send that either show confidence or lack of confidence. And when we as audience members don't feel the incongruency of the quavering voice or the happy feet, we can focus entirely on your message. When we can focus entirely on your message, then we want to know more. We can get swept up in your story. So that's how that works. And so actually getting ROI in terms of people coming up to you and saying to you, hey, tell me more, how can I learn more, has more to do with how you show up physically and tonally than anything else. Now, on top of that, you need to be able to tell a story. So the physicality and the tonality is how you are storyteller-like, but you also need to be able to tell a good story. When you can do these things, you pretty much set it up so that everyone is going to want to know more about you. And this is a great way to get ROI from the speaking gigs, right? Even the free ones, is to be so good, so compelling, so magnetic, so charismatic that people just gravitate toward you. They can't wait to come up after the talk and learn more. That's not the only way to get ROI from a speaking gig, though. So we've got more. So, okay, that's what you can do in terms of just being compelling. And it's very, very powerful. I'd say it's the most important, is just you've got to be great every time you're up there. And by the way, I'm going to say this again. Do not confuse getting booked and then getting through your talk with being good. That's a false equivalency, and I see it all the time, and it breaks my heart. I see so many people who are speaking, maybe even at high levels, who don't have these skills, who think, I'm good just because they're getting opportunities, right? It doesn't mean you're good. It does not mean you're good. Lisa Nichols is good. Tony Robbins is good. Removing for a minute the marketing machine that he is, just his ability to show up 100% in his center on stage and be confident, he's good. Les Brown is good. What's the Mel Robbins? She's good, right? These are people who have paid attention to the art form. And when you do, everything else becomes easier. So let's talk about other more strategic ways that you can get ROI from every speaking gig. Now, always, even if it's your first gig, always, always, always mention what your normal fee is. If you're just starting out, this is going to be a little uncomfortable. And let me tell you what I mean. So even if you go into an opportunity that clearly states that it's a free opportunity, you want to find a way, without sounding weird or pushy or manipulative, to make them know that you don't typically speak for free. Okay? So if you don't typically speak for free, your perceived value is higher. They're going to be more inclined to be amenable when you say to them something like, normally my fee is $2,000, but I'm willing to waive it. Can we get creative in ways to compensate me? Something like that, right? Words to that effect. I'm happy to waive my $2,000 speaking fee, but in exchange, what I'd like is video of me speaking, testimonials from the organizers, and a referral to someone else you know who could use a dynamic speaker. Right? Once again, I want emojis from you guys to make sure you're following this. Let me know you're following this. I'll wait. This is very important, you guys. This is how you start, and this is how, even as a seasoned speaker, you make these free opportunities pay. Patrick is saying yes. So good. Okay. Yeah, the lag time with FaceTime is always a little funny. So what have we covered here so far? We've covered the way that you can make your presentations so compelling that every time you speak, people will want to know more. And it's really interesting. It really is down primarily to these very subtle cues that we either get right or miss. And they're in our body and they are in our voice. And then we need storytelling. We need to have a great story. But even if you have a great story and you don't tell it with a voice and a body that are sort of aligned, congruent, and on message, it's going to fall flat, at least flatter than it could. This is the most powerful thing I can share with you for how to make sure that people come up to you after every talk and want to know more. You've got to be good up there, really good. And it's not a high bar. That's the funny thing, right? Because again, I've taken a lot of pot shots at people who inappropriately think that just because they're speaking a lot, they're good, which is absolutely untrue, right? It's an art, and nobody is just good at an art. So let's be very clear about that. You've got to commit yourself to the art. And once you commit yourself to the art, you'll start to get good. But oh, Lordy, how many people I see who get cocky and just think that just because they're speaking, they're good. Meanwhile, they're leaving connection, influence, impact, money. They're leaving everything on the table, never even realizing it because their ego and their pride got in the way. So that's what you can do internally. You can practice your art. You can commit yourself to your craft. You do that and you'll see a change that's kind of hard to pinpoint until you get to the other side of it. So now, how strategically and tactically can we make sure we get ROI from every speaking gig? We have to get creative. We've got to be willing to say things like, my normal speaking fee is $2,500, $3,000, $5,000. Happy to waive it for you in exchange for ... Does that make sense? I'm going to wait for emojis on this because I want to make sure you get this. Does that make sense to you? This is me waiting for emojis. See how serious my face looks? Okay, great. So you've got to be ready beforehand, right? And what a lot of us choke on is saying the dollar amount. Here's what I want you to do. Simply practice saying it out loud before you have the conversation, right? Get used to the way saying $3,000, my speaking fee is $3,000, sounds. Get used to the way it feels so that when the time comes, you can just go, my normal fee is $3,000, but I'm willing to waive it in exchange for whatever. I'm willing to waive it if we can get creative and whatever. Make sense? We good? Awesome. Okay. So those are just a few of the ways that you can make sure that you get ROI from every speaking gig. We talked about capturing people in terms of emails or getting them into your social media world or your Facebook group or whatever you have. We talked about shortening up the link. If you're going to give them links, go to bit.ly or tiny URL or one of those. Don't give somebody some long, ridiculous link with, that's unintelligible, but give them a short, tight link like tinyurl.com/Manny group. Easy peasy. I can write it, right. Well, not with my eyes closed, but, but you get the point, right? So you want to make it easy. You want to prepare these things ahead of time. We talked about making sure that your voice is the symphony and you are the conductor. Do not leave your voice to chance, you guys. We talked about making sure that particularly your feet weren't kind of doing the happy foot thing and undermining the confidence and the credibility you're trying to project, because they will, and we will read those feet. Okay? We will read those feet and we will trust them on a subconscious level more than we trust the words coming out of your mouth. If you're saying one thing, but your body is saying something else, it is game over. I want to be very clear on that. It's a wrap. Shut it down. Okay? You are not going to be compelling, confident, charismatic, and trustworthy. You're not going to be those things if your feet are tap dancing all over the place without you knowing. Okay. So then we talked about the tactical strategies. Be sure to ask for things in exchange for the money that you tell them that you normally make for a speaking engagement. Doesn't matter if you're brand new. Doesn't matter if it's your first gig ever. Say the words, repeat the words, practice the words, get used to how it sounds to say, my normal fee is $5,000. But I do pro bono work, and I'm happy to do a pro bono talk for you in exchange for video footage, in exchange for a referral, in exchange for testimonials, right? Good, 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 good. Now that you know how to be a compelling speaker and how to get ROI from every speaking gig that you do, I got a little question for you. How would you like to never have to find your own gigs again? I'm going to wait. I'm going to look for some emojis from you guys. How would you like to not have to find your own speaking gigs ever again? I really am expecting some emojis here. I'm really expecting, because that should be a no-brainer for you guys, right? So how would you like to never have to find them again? How would you like to have vetted, pre-approved yeses delivered to you that all you have to do is then negotiate the final details of? How would that be for you? Let me tell you the thing more than anything else that stops beginning speakers from having a quick rise. It's the boots on the ground, tactical process of looking for opportunities. That's what it is. It takes a long time. It takes, you should plan to dedicate 5 to 8 hours a week, if not more, to filling your pipeline with opportunities. So how would you like to have someone do all that for you? How would you like it if that person was me and my team? I want to tell you guys what I've got here. And I think Probably most of you know about it just looking at the people that are on the call, but you never know who's going to watch this later. So I've got a new service that I call GigBot. GigBot. And what it is it's just that. We find and apply on your behalf to speaking opportunities. We find them and we apply to them. When we get yeses, we hand them to you and you negotiate the final details. That's it. How does that sound? So here's how it works. You give us the criteria you want us to search for. We scour every corner of the internet for you. It's pretty easy. Well, it's not easy for us, but it's pretty easy for you, right? And we have so far delivered, at this point now today, over 1,000 highly qualified leads to the 25 or so people that have already enrolled. Over 1,000. So we actually had to pull back the amount of gigs that we were giving each person at a time so that they didn't get overwhelmed. And we have just recently made the decision that we're starting phase 2, which is applying on your behalf. It's pretty cool, right? So here's why it's different. Because up till now, you had bureaus, agencies, and speaker websites, all of which are very passive, all of which are, well, I suppose speaker websites are super do-it-yourself. You've got to prospect and dig and look and search instead of having somebody take care of all that for you. Speaker agencies, well, they run the gambit, right? I know several who require a monthly retainer and take a commission and still don't deliver very many opportunities. So in between those lies GigBot, that you join with us and we just do it all for you. We find every gig out there that fits your criteria and we apply on your behalf, and then we deliver to you the yeses. So it's pretty amazing. So if you want to get in on this, I would say get in right now. Talk to me right now, because we're still in beta, and that it affords you an incredible opportunity that once we launch, you'll never see again. If you want to talk about it, let me know in the chat and we'll have a conversation. But this will be a game changer. This will be a business builder. This will be a brand exploder for you. We'll find the gigs for you. We'll apply on your behalf, and you just negotiate your final details and fill your calendar with speaking gigs while saving yourself time, headache, and bandwidth. Is there a lot more that needs to be said on this? I don't think so. I think this is a no-brainer, absolutely obvious offer. So if you want to get started, then right now you should either reach out to me or put "tell me more" in the comments. That's what you should do. If you want to learn more about this, you have questions, put "tell me more" in the comments or get in touch with me directly. This will change the game for you 100%, absolutely, for 2019. Obviously, there's an investment. It'll be the best investment in your business you ever make. If you want to use the power of stages to grow your brand, your business, your influence, your income, and your impact, nothing else like this anywhere. This is it. This is the brass ring. So if you're ready to explode, if you're ready to start putting into practice everything I've taught you here, then reach out. Put "tell me more" in the comments or reach out to me, because this will change it for you. This will be the thing, without a doubt. Okay? What I've got it done for you, finding and applying service. What it does, it finds speaking opportunities for you and applies to them on your behalf. Why it's different? Because no one else does this. It's either total do it yourself or leave it in the hands of someone who isn't that motivated to find you opportunities. Let's think about most speaker agencies. Let's say they've got 500 clients. If they find each client one opportunity a year, that's 500 commissions for them, 500 monthly retainers for them, and 1 gig for you, right? So it does not behoove them. The very structure of the organization does not behoove them to work hard on your behalf. We're right in the middle. We'll never charge you a commission. And everything is all about finding you and applying on your behalf to speaking gigs that fit your criteria. So if you want to know more, jump now, because Beta Group will not stay open. And once we roll out the full launch, you'll never see this investment again. I hope you jump in. I hope you join us. I would love to be part of watching your life, your career, and your brand just explode this year. All right. Thank you so much.